Now, it's called The Beautiful Game, but now football is under the spotlight of corruption allegations. The European Union's police agency says it's uncovered evidence of large-scale match fixing, identifying almost 700 suspicious matches in the last 3 years, including qualifiers for the World Cup and European Championship, and in fact 2 games in Europe's Champions League. It's thought the match fixing originates from an organized crime syndicate based in Singapore.
A suspected football match-fixing syndicate has been uncovered during an 18-month global investigation. An Asia-based group is thought to have been working with criminal networks around Europe. Europol, the European Anti-Crime Agency, has identified about 680 suspicious matches across 30 countries. They include World Cup and European Championship qualifiers and Champions League games.
This investigation coordinated multiple police inquiries across Europe and was facilitated by intelligence reports from Europol, which was based on the analysis of 13,000 emails. The investigation has since led to several prosecutions in the countries involved.
Investigators say 425 match officials, club officials, players and serious criminals are suspected of being involved. 50 people have so far been arrested. The syndicate is believed to have brought in at least €8 million in profits.
Police say they're looking at corruption across 15 countries in Europe, involving 380 matches and 425 officials and players. And it's all controlled by one criminal gang in Singapore.
Players who have not been paid their wages, who get particularly low wages, are particularly vulnerable, primarily because they're just not earning a living. One myth to explode is the fact that every single professional footballer in Europe is paid vast amounts of money. That is true for Premier League stars and some of the big stars in the other major leagues, but for a lot of, especially lower divisions, which this statement today was particularly concerned about, quite often the wages are quite low.
Police believe the gang have bet more than €16 million, winning €8 million. So far, there have been 50 arrests. The gang placed their bets with Asian bookmakers in the Far East, mainly because British firms all have systems in place to spot foul play.
Behind the goals and the glory, football across the globe has been increasingly hit by the murky business of match fixing in recent years. Italy is a high-profile example of a European country that suffered, Turkey another, whose club football was torn apart by it. Now the full extent of the problem across Europe has been revealed.
It's very complex because there's some of this match-fixing arrangements from Southeastern Asia is actually just a small part of huge international criminal organisations. This is just one facet of what they do and what they manipulate. I think the problem that the sports authorities have, and the frustration for them, because they've started to try to take action, is that in a lot of countries actually match fixing isn't against the law, and therefore governments have to be brought into line as part of the exercise, because football authorities don't have the power to raid homes, to arrest people, and the sort of police powers, and that's why that security is needed.
Jerome Valcke, the General Secretary of football's governing body FIFA, told CNN last month that match fixing is a disease that could kill football. And his organisations responded to the new findings by saying, FIFA and the football community are committed to tackling this problem, but we will not succeed alone. The cooperation between law enforcement and sporting organisations needs to be strengthened. The support of law enforcement bodies, legal investigations and ultimately tougher sanctions are required, as currently there is low risk and high gain potential for the fixers. Names of clubs and individuals haven't been released because of criminal investigations that are already underway, but of course there have been a number of well-publicised corruption scandals in football in recent years. The Italian Calciopoli scandal of 2005-06 is perhaps the most well-known. It saw champions Juventus relegated to Serie B. 39 current and former players have served prison sentences after the 2011 South Korean betting scandal, which hit the K-League. Last year, the current Juventus coach Antonio Conte served a suspension following Italy's most recent match-fixing scandal to hit Serie B. The Turkish sports corruption scandal is ongoing into match fixing and bribery in the top two leagues. The Fenerbahce chairman, Aziz Yildirim, was sentenced to 6 years in prison for match fixing, and the club were on the verge of relegation. There's also an investigation currently taking place in South Africa. The Football Association president was suspended in December last year but has been reinstated, although the inquiry continues. So whilst today's discovery is a step in the right direction, the worry now is how much more there is to come.